Good morning, everyone. I'm Yoli Day, and I was diagnosed with having a tumor in my stomach in June of 2021. I had recently retired and was looking forward to retirement when I started feeling very tired. Um, I'm 60, well, at the time I was 62 years old. I was very overweight. Um, didn't exercise. So I just thought I'm old and I'm fat, and that's why I'm tired all the time. So I didn't pay much attention to it. But when I would bend over and I couldn't breathe, or when I go dancing with my husband, which we love to do, and I couldn't get through one song, I felt like maybe this is more than just age and weight related. So I went to my doctor and I said, I'm just not feeling right. Um, and he said, well, lose some weight, take your blood pressure medicine, and, come see me in the morning. Uh, but it didn't get any better. So he checked my heart and he thought, well, maybe it has to do with that. And so they, EKG after EKG, everything came out okay. And I still didn't get better. So he finally did some lab work, and the lab showed that I had my red blood cells were low. So he called me and said, I need to retest you. And if we get the test is still low, you need a blood transfusion. I mean, at this point, all I had wrong with me was high blood pressure. So having a blood transfusion kind of scared me. I thought, okay. So I went in and was in the hospital for about 4 days, and I couldn't figure out why I was losing blood or where I was losing it from. I happened to go to a heart hospital, so they didn't have a gastroenterologist on staff, but a oncologist was on staff, and she came to see me one night, and she said, it's uncommon for you to be losing blood, and so you're bleeding from somewhere. We got to figure it out. And you need to go see a gastroenterologist right away and have an endoscopy. But this is during COVID, and it was really hard in San Antonio for us to see a doctor. So I said, I'm not going to be able to go see someone right away. And she said, hold on. And she got her phone and she called a friend, and she said, he'll see you. He'll see you in a week. So I checked out of the hospital, went to see him. And prior to that, the year before, I had a lot of dental work and had been taking aspirin and Tylenol. So he said, you probably have what is it? Uh, huh? I can't remember what it was, but not a tumor, ulcer, a bleeding ulcer. And that's what he thought it was. I'm like, okay, that's not a big deal. He says, but we have to do an endoscopy. So we went in, and I'm thinking I'm having an ulcer, and I'm coming out of anesthesia, and the nurse is holding my hand and the doctor's next to me. And then they said, you have a tumor. And I'm like, I'm still like froggy. And I'm like, what? And my husband wasn't with me. No one was with me. It was during COVID. And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. And then finally, when I came to and I finally understood what they were telling me, they said I did have a tumor and it was bleeding. And they were so sad when they gave me the news, which scared me even more. Um, but okay, so I had a tumor, and then I said, okay, what now? So they said, we have a doctor on our staff that'll see you. And the doctor that I saw in the hospital, I liked her a whole lot. So I went back to her. She referred me to her surgeon. And as I was talking to Dr. Mivento earlier, he immediately said, oh, yeah, tomorrow we'll go in and take your stomach. And I'm like, oh, what are you talking about? He said, yeah, we need to get it out. We're going to take your stomach. And my daughter was with me. I'm a nervous wreck. I don't know what's going on. And my daughter said, no, no, don't let him do that. Let's get a second opinion. And so we went to MD Anderson for a second opinion, and their approach was completely different. And they said, no, we've done a lot of testing. We've got a lot of success with chemotherapy, radiation, and then surgery. We don't think you can get chemo because of your age and because I guess my health at the time, because of my diet, my liver didn't look so good. So they said, no, you need to get it done in advance. And then we do have to take your whole stomach. So I felt better, even though I was going to have to go through a whole lot more. It seemed like I just felt better going that route. So I stayed with them and had the surgery. This happened in around the June timeframe of 2021. In December of 2021, I went in for surgery. Um, I was scared. They told me you're gonna have a feeding tube. You're not gonna be able to eat meat. And you're not gonna be able to drink your wine, which I love to drink my wine. And so I was scared about all these things. But at the end of the day, it wasn't that bad. And I'm currently in a mentor mentee program with DDF, and I know what we have is horrible. And I know that it affects people in horrible ways, but I'm blessed that it didn't me. I came out of surgery. Yeah, it was tough. Yeah, it hurt. Dr. Badwell, Brian Badwell, MD Anderson's my surgeon. He made me walk like crazy, and I, hated him for that. But he forced me to do it, and and I recovered quickly. I didn't have any problems. I was on a feeding tube for just like 3 weeks. Um, I was able to eat quickly after that. Um, I do have problems today. I mean, I have to be near a restroom anywhere I go. I have to watch what I eat, how much I eat, and I don't always do well with that, but I try. I'm still working on it. It's a work in progress. Um, Recently, I was told that I have osteopenia, and I guess because of the lack of nutrients, because of my digestion problems that I still have. But at the end of the day, I'm alive and I feel good. I have more energy than I've ever had. I mean, I play pickleball. I never used to even walk around the block without getting tired. I play pickleball now. So I thank God for my surgeons. I thank God for the team at MD Anderson and for all the support that DDF gives me now, and for all the people that I work with at a DDF, uh, that together we're helping fight this fight. And with that, thank you very much. And I'm going to introduce you to Luzmila Cabrera. She's going to tell her story in Spanish, and her niece is going to translate for you.
Buenos días, mi nombre es Luzmila Cabrera. Eh, yo fui diagnosticada el año pasado, en enero, febrero, me operaron. eh, yo tenía un adenocarcinoma ampular y bueno, me lo hicieron con el robot. Fue una operación muy compleja, duré muchas horas, pero afortunadamente salí bien. Luego comenzó la quimo, fueron 12 secciones, me fue bien y siempre optimista, nunca tuve miedo, siempre miraba adelante. El único problema es que no quería tomar agua, tenía que tomar mucho líquido y no podía. Y lo otro que sentía era que decía que si yo iba a comer igual que antes porque me encanta comer, pero no, afortunadamente mi vida es igual, tengo más energía, veo la vida desde otro punto de vista, estoy muy optimista, he ido a controles 3 veces, ahora estoy yendo cada 6 y todo está bien y confiando en Dios que todo siga así. Esa es mi experiencia. Quería compartirlo con ustedes. Otra cosa, que conocí a DDF por la Organización del Cáncer, porque yo quería ayudar a otras personas, como me ayudaron a mí con un support, que me llamaban, que me decían, no esto, puedes comer esto, lo otro. Y bueno, me llamé, me inscribí y bueno, estoy con ellos y espero seguir para ayudar a otras personas. Gracias.
So good morning. My name is Daniela Alvarez. I'm her niece. So how she was telling her story. So she said that she was diagnosed last year in February with adenocarcinoma of her ampulla. That is one of the first part of it's like the connection of the GI system with the intestines. So, so she went to surgery, and after that, she went to 12 rounds of chemotherapy. The surgery was uh, with minimal complications, so she did good with that. And after that, the chemo also she tolerated very well. Um, um, the recovery have been pretty good. So one of her concern was not able to eat again like before because she loved eat, but thanks God she's able to eat, I think so more than before. So, and then she get in contact with Yoli, because she wants to help other people through this, process, how, find that support that she found it when she was through that. Um, yeah, but in general, she's feeling better, um, and she's doing good. So we're grateful, with God that everything, all the physician, the teams, and everything. So.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Pam Hall. I'm a cancer survivor, and for most of you that are here, you know about the 5-year overall survival rates. Well, this month is the 5th year since I was first diagnosed with gastric cancer, so I'm really happy to be here today. I was diagnosed August of 2018, much like Yoli. I had internal bleeding. They did an endoscopy, they found the tumor. Like Dr. Pimiento said, my first reaction was get it out. I wanted to get the surgery, I wanted to get the tumor out. Moffitt applied the brakes. I had some pre-surgical chemotherapy. In January of 2019, I had a total gastrectomy. Dr. Pimiento performed the surgery. It wasn't quite as easy as he makes it sound. I had some complications after my surgery. I was in the hospital for 20 days, but I got through it. I recovered. I was doing fine, but since January of 2019, I've had 4 recurrences of my cancer, and I'm working on potentially a 5th one now. So needless to say, I've had just about every single therapy that they've talked to you about today. I've had it. I've had after my surgery, I had chemo radiation. I had other recurrences that were treated with radiation. I've had immunotherapy, and currently I'm in a CAR T drug trial. I received my first CAR T infusion on May the 30th. That following August, I got a scan that showed no evidence of disease. And I've been getting scans every 2 or 3 months now since then. I've got a little area of concern right now, but I have been healthy. I had one very brief episode of cytokine release syndrome when I was in the hospital for my first infusion. Lasted about an hour. The nurses on the floor knew exactly what to do for me, and I got through it very quickly with no lingering effects. I would say that CAR T therapy was probably the easiest cancer treatment I have received thus far. I'm just crossing my fingers and hope it's lasting. One of the things I wanted to talk a little bit about today, and when Dr. Mehta asked me to come talk to you about my experience, and she said you have 10 or 15 minutes, I thought, how am I going to boil 10 or 15 5 years of cancer treatments down to 10 or 15 minutes? But really, some of the lessons I've learned along the way, when I was talking with Dr. Pimiento before my surgery, one of the questions I asked him was, what happens if my cancer comes back? Because I've been doing a lot of Googling, and I saw what the recurrence rates were. And he said, we don't know if it will or it won't. And there are 1,000 different ways this can go, and we will deal with that when it happens. And I'll tell you, I was not happy with that answer, but he was right. And one of those lessons I learned was, You got to focus on what's in front of you right now. You know, you can't be thinking about 2 years down the road, 3 years down the road. You just need to deal with what's happening right now. Another lesson I learned was that cancer doesn't discriminate. You know, I was not overweight. I previously did smoke, but I quit 32 years ago. I'm a moderate drinker. I've been practicing yoga for 20 years. You know, I was healthy. I'm a regular exerciser. I have no cancer in either side of my family. So this just really came out of the blue for me, like it does for a lot of people. So cancer doesn't discriminate. And even though we all may have gastric cancer, no two of us are alike. We all respond to our treatments differently. Some of us have comorbidities, some of us don't. So, you know, it's like concierge medicine. You know, they have to treat each one of us as individuals. And Moffitt has done a fabulous job with that. How I've coped with this, I think the emotional and the mental stress and the roller coaster has really had an impact on me personally. I continued to do my yoga. Even when I wasn't strong enough to do a sun salutation, I would at least roll my mat out and try to do something. You know, so I continued with my yoga. I meditate. I did journaling. I've done talk therapy. My husband and I love to travel. So we travel as much as my health and our finances will allow. The other thing I've learned is that you have to take responsibility and be an active participant in your treatment strategy. You know, initially when I was diagnosed, I got, you know, when Dr. Pimiento said he was taking my stomach out, that took my breath away. It's like, what are you talking to me about here? So I started Googling and I saw all these terrible statistics and all these things that happen to people when their stomach's been removed. And I was talking to my sister about it one day and she said, Pam, stop consulting with Dr. Google. Just let it go, listen to your doctors, and take it one step at a time. That said, though, however, I do continue to do research. I do very regularly look at the clinicaltrials.gov website to see what's new. I talk to people. I belong to face groups for people with gastric cancer. Debbie's Dream is a great resource. There are several organizations that are dedicated to gastric cancer, and they provide a lot of information. I attend webinars, symposiums like this to learn more about what the latest advancements are in the treatment. So you have to educate yourself and ask your doctor questions and challenge them, and don't be afraid to get a second opinion. All I can tell you at the end of the day is I'm thankful that I live in an area where I've got the resource of Moffitt to help me. I wouldn't be alive today without the doctors at Moffitt working together to continue to treat my cancer. I have a village of support. My husband, my children, my friends have all just rallied around me. So in a way, that's kind of been a blessing, you know, in disguise for having this disease. I'd like to thank Debbie's Dream today and Moffitt for putting on this symposium, and I hope that a lot of people can benefit from everything that people have talked about today. And if anybody has questions about anything regarding treatments that I've had in the past, I'm more than happy to talk to anybody at any time. So thank you.